A PDF portfolio is a PDF document that you can email and send as just one file, but when you open it, inside it actually contains many different files. Now, PDF portfolios can contain PDF documents, they can contain folders, and inside of those folders they can even contain Microsoft Word documents, photos, and links to the internet. As you can see here, I've created a document that when I open it up, I can scroll through the contents, I can look inside of folders, and I can read and preview PDFs that are stored inside of this one file. Now, to create this, I'm going to use Adobe Acrobat Pro. So I'll open up Adobe Acrobat Pro, and on the launch screen it presents me with some options. On the right hand side here it says create a PDF portfolio. That's what we want to do. I'll click that, and it gives you the option of choosing through the different layouts. There's a click-through layout, freeform, which is kind of just your documents scattered around a virtual table, which can be kind of fun if you're combining student work together. Say maybe they did an example of some posters and you save those as PDFs. You can have it arranged like on a table, and then you just send one PDF file home to parents and they can see all the different work kind of scattered about, which is kind of neat. You can have it arranged as a grid. You can do linear, which is what I demoed earlier, or you can have it in a wave format where it's kind of a 3D wave that you can cycle through documents almost in kind of a futuristic manner where you can swipe through them. I'm going to go ahead and select linear though, and I'm going to click finish. That's going to create my document. Now the layout in here looks a little bit different than it does in creating a traditional PDF. Just to kind of give you a lay of the land, we have a button up here that lets us preview, and we're not going to do that yet, but that'll let us preview what the document's going to look like. On the right hand side, I have my options to add content, either individual files one at a time, or I can add entire folders. I can incorporate web clips, or I can go ahead and just create folders to put documents into. If I decide that later on I don't like the linear layout, I can go back and I still have the option to change it. And then it also gives you some ability to customize it. And so I'm going to add a few documents here first before I get into customizing. So I'm going to come up to Add Files. I'm going to click Add Files, and now I'm going to go ahead and just add some. And so I have a folder here on my desktop called Portfolio Items. And in there I have some PDFs. And so I'm going to add some PDF documents into my portfolio here. All right, so I'm going to select that. And one handy tip, if you don't know already, if you hold down the Command key, I can select multiple documents without having these two guys in between also selected. A lot of times people hit the first one and hit Shift and come down and hit the bottom one. That'll work, but if you want to select items that are not continuous, if you hold down the Command key, you can select them. So I've selected those 4 items. I'm going to click Open, and now those 4 items are going to be added into my portfolio. And if I want to try it, I can click through and I can see the different options that are there. Now, one of the things I showed you in the sample portfolio was adding a folder. And folders help you organize. And so a lot of times when I've used this with my students, I created a folder and I called it Reading Assignments, and all of the PDF texts that they needed to read were in one folder. I also maybe had a different folder that was assignments, or if I was doing a couple units worth of work, I might have Unit 1 and Unit 2 folders in here. And to do that, it's very easy. You just come over here and click Create Folder, and it'll ask for a name. And I'm just going to type Reading Assignments and hit OK. And now I can drag any of these PDFs down here into my folder. So I'm going to drag the primary source reading over. I'm going to drag the Teens and Technology over, and I'm going to drag the other over. So now if I double click the folder, it'll pop up and those 3 items that I added to it are now inside of it. And I can exit back out of there, and I can come over and I can preview the other PDF that I added, and everything is contained within this one file. So now if I were to save this, I will have just one file that if I emailed out or posted online, users would have access to these 4 different content items within it. Another thing that you might want to add to your portfolio is web content. And so I can click Add Web Content, and it'll ask me the name of the file. And so maybe I'll just do Area 66 web page. And then I'll add a URL. So this is the Area 66 web page. So area66.westside66.org. And I'll click OK. And now it's going to add a web clip here. And when this is previewed, I can actually see the Area 66 webpage inside of my PDF portfolio. Now this requires internet connectivity, but it's a great way to send home links to parents, or if you're doing this for your students, to get some research web links that are all within that one PDF file. And so you can see here I have web pages, I have PDFs, and I have folders all embedded within one PDF file. Once you have a PDF portfolio created, the next step is to customize the look and feel. Adobe provides a lot of helpful tools to make the PDF portfolio look just the way that you'd like it to look. If I want to, I can go through and change what the layout is even after I've added my content to it. So if I wanted to try a grid, I can see how the grid looks. If I wanted to try maybe a freeform look to see what that looks like with my folders and documents and web clips arranged out on a table, I could. I'm going to go back to linear here. And now that I've selected that, it has this option called visual themes. And these are pre-made themes, such as this clean look, or tech office, or modern, or translucent. I'm going to select modern. And you can even go through it and it has some color palettes for you. So if you wanted to see what things would look like with more changes, to the highlights, and notice that it's changing over here what the labels are going to be. I'm going to change it to this one here. I also can add a title. And so if I click up at the top where the header area is, it says templates none. I can select and have just text. I can have a picture, or I can have text and images. So I'm going to choose text and images, and I'll double click this here to add text, and I'll go Area 66 sample portfolio. Now I can highlight that and come over here to change the font size, so I'll make it a little bit bigger there, maybe bold it. I can go through and choose the font. Now one thing you'll notice is if you choose a font that might not be a standard font like Helvetica or Courier, you might want to think about this option that says embed. And what that does is that'll embed the font into the portfolio so that when you send it out, parents will be able to open it and see the font that you've chosen, even if they don't have it installed on their machine. I can also come over here, and if I click on the left-hand side, it'll say Image Properties now. I can choose an image, and in this case, I have a picture of the Westside W. And when I click that, it'll add the Westside W up here to the top left. Or if I want to change it, I can maybe, depending on where it's at. In this case, I have it anchored to the left there, so even when I try to center it, it won't let me. But if I had that free floating in the middle, I could have the logo centered or the logo on the right-hand side. So if I click through here a little bit, I can see I've changed the colors of the highlights on it. I've changed the background. I've added an illustration or photograph, and I have added a title. If I want to see what this will look like on student machines, I can click Preview, and this will give me what it will look like if somebody opens it up. So I can check, and I can make sure my web pages open. I can check to see my individual documents if they open. And I can check to make sure everything in the folders opens up as well. Now if I did want to go and change it, I can go back and click Edit. If I want to just take a look at what files are in my portfolio without having to worry at the layout, there is an option to click Files, and then I can see what my files are, and it's almost like navigating a Finder window, only it's inside of the PDF. And so I'm going to switch back over here, go back into the Edit view. And even at this point, if I want to change the layout, I can still change the layout. But the next thing I'm going to do is save this. And so I'm going to go up to Save Portfolio, and we're going to call this Area 66 Sample Portfolio. And I'm just going to save this to my desktop. So now that my portfolio is saved, you can see on my desktop here I have an icon that says Area 66 Sample Portfolio. If I double click that, this will be exactly what any parent or student would see using Adobe Acrobat. I can click through, I can see the files and the documents that I have embedded inside of it, and I can open any of those up. That's how to create and customize an Adobe PDF portfolio. Thank you.